Hello everybody, welcome to another video, and you see we are back in rings and I'm so excited. So the last couple weeks you saw me doing a little bit of a plan with me in my B6 bullet journal, which was this really gorgeous planner monkey coat because I had a bit of a planning crisis and I didn't know how the changes I needed to make would work in rings. The issue was I just needed everything to be back in one book, and so we are back in one book. This is not the cover I've been in previously. This is actually my Naya Papery personal wide cover, but I was inspired by Vixie's Plans recent setup where she put her usual Franklin Covey compact inserts into her personal wide cover. And I actually really love how nicely it fits in this cover. It's so comfy. Like, I can close it. Here's the thing. Part of the reason why I didn't love personal wide is it was extremely heavy and I didn't like the wide footprint of the planner on my desk. I still don't love the width of this planner, but I was also really sad because I was like, man, I really love these covers. I have a couple VDS covers. This is one of my VDS covers right now that currently has a bunch of archived inserts in it right now. That is absolutely gorgeous. I love this cover so much and I'm very excited now that I think I can actually use it. I just didn't have the wherewithal to take everything out of here, and this one was empty. So, and what's cool about this is if I want to, I can actually stick another flyleaf in here and fit a third pen. But with the previous cover I was using, the personal Moterm, my inserts would kind of stick out and it would be kind of like chunky and thick and like almost like it was over full, because their Franklin Covey compact is wider than personal, and I'd stuff it pretty good. I just like that this cover doesn't have a back pocket on it, so it's really still very light. If there's a back pocket, I'll use it, but I also don't love the back pocket. Like, I can absolutely leave it. Like, my VDS also does not have a back pocket. One of my VDS covers does, because that's how that style came. It was one that I got for free, so I'm not gonna complain. But when I have my choice, I usually don't do a back pocket and I'll just use the folio pockets. So I finally figured out how I wanted this book to function. Things that didn't change in here more or less is going to be like my health section and my spending trackers. That is all the same in here, and that's part of why I needed to get back into rings sooner versus later. And I wasn't putting a lot of pressure on myself to do it, but then once I started one night I just got into it and I was like, ooh, I'm on a roll. Well, I'm just gonna finish this. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't put the pressure on myself to do it. I'm glad I gave myself the time to experiment, and I'm really glad that when I did sit down and experiment with things, that it worked. And the big thing that I had to experiment with was putting in some kind of vertical timeline, vertical weekly, addition to my dashboard weekly, that would allow me to sort of capacity plan when I needed to. It's not something I use every single day, but when I need to time block and like plan out what my day is gonna kind of anticipate looking like, I need the vertical, and I don't want to do it in my dailies, because my dailies is my real time of what actually happens, versus the vertical weekly allows me to sort of anticipate what I want it to look like. So I'm going to do a quick overview. Full disclosure, I do want to get new dividers, but I actually had a set of these Franklin Covey compact size dividers that are they're just little paper dividers from Franklin Planner Company. I don't love them. They feel very flimsy, but they're getting the job done right now until I figure out what dividers I want to buy. There's some that I found on Etsy, but they're the clear glass style. I like the clear frosted. I really want frosted dividers, and my dividers are kind of all wonky because they used to be personal wide. Then I cut them down to test out, and I was like, I'm gonna use what I have. But I really want to get like a fresh set of dividers. I just need to find the frosted kind that I like. The ones that I would normally buy are no longer in stock, which makes me so sad. But here we are, and I'm actually really enjoying this. So obviously here I've got my deco. This is from the Bitter Season shop, if I'm not mistaken, maybe, but I think the shop is closed on Etsy. We have a little Aloes Creative Corner. This was a freebie actually in one of my orders, and I just love how stiff the ribbon, I just love how that looks. I have my stickers in here. This is a Planner Monkey Co-Folio that just has my sort of most used stickers that I slide in the front here. And then this is a jelly dashboard from Paperbound Creations, and funnily enough, this was actually the personal wide size, but it fits Franklin Covey size very, very well. And I punched it, has a little, you know, folder here if I want. And then I asked Cynthia to put a pen loop on it, and she was like, oh, I've never done this before. This is fun, and I love it with the pen loop. I have another one in another color that I absolutely love. A little moon magnet from Point Blank Stationery Co., which is an Australian shop, and then this little mushy from Vixie's Plans. Super fun. I love how well it sticks onto this jelly cover, and I just think this is like such a cute little vibe. Then we get into here. These are my moss stickers from Taylor Ryan Design, if I'm not mistaken. A Year at a Glance, and this star paper clip from Vixie's Plans, Year at a Glance lunar calendar. I just thought this was so pretty. I don't need it to reference it for anything specific. I don't really do a whole lot with the moon or the stars or astrology. I just thought this was stinking gorgeous. And I just have it clipped to this divider here. So this first section here, and I don't have these labeled because these are so tiny. When I get bigger dividers, I still may or may not label them, just because when I label them and then I want to reuse them, I have to take the label off, then I have to remove the adhesive. Anyway, it's a big fat mess. Dashboard from Watch Back a Plan. This is my future log. So this is anything that goes beyond what I currently have in my monthlies. So this is a future log of, I don't need and always want my monthlies all stuck in advance, especially because sometimes the layout of what I use might change every 2 to 3 months. So I have this just to jot things down through January, and then I have just some blanks here too for any extra notes. Again, these are just notes pages from Infinite Lotus. I don't need anything fancy when it comes to future log. I just need something dedicated to the month, and then to put the dates and then the event or information that I need to know. So it's my future log, and then here's my monthly overview. So this is a new style. So this is actually 2 different inserts that I printed back to back. So this is a month on one page from Infinite Lotus with just the notes pages printed on the back. So this is kind of similar to what Noelia does from My Moxie Dreams, and I really like this. I tried it in the bullet journal, and it was really, really nice to have, where I have sort of a personal and work inbox for the month. And then here's sort of my overview of, like, if there's a little dot on the day, then I can see visually where things are landing, and then check what the date down here is for that event or task or whatever it is that I need to know. And so here's my month on one page. And then I just have this dashboard that used to be a personal wide dashboard. I trimmed it down a little bit, but it's got some of my favorite stickers on it, and this is what I'm putting in between each month. So then once July hits, I'll just stick it over here. You know what I mean? So like it'll just go, and then once August hits, here's August. These printed a little bit like, oh, actually that's supposed to be August. JK, take that out. Yeah, June, July, August. And so this is my monthlies for the time being. And I actually really like this. So if this works for the next few months, I'll probably just continue this style. And that's my monthly section. Monthly section I don't really use for pre-planning. It's more for, I need to reference this once I get to the certain week of seeing, okay, what's happening this week? And then I pull that information into my dailies and weeklies. This is my health section. This is my cycle and intimacy tracker. Y'all don't need to see that. Then I have my health logs here. So this has so far everything from January, February. I really liked this month on 2 page with tracker. I just didn't, like, by the time once February and March rolled around, I stopped tracking it effectively. And so I was like, let me switch this up. And so I still may go back to this style at some point, but here was March. And then here's my April trackers for health. April, and then April, and then we got into May, and now we're in June. And these were originally done in my B6. I just trimmed them out and stuffed them in. I don't feel like remaking these, so they will be a slightly different paper style and size because I just didn't have the brain power to print and cut and set up. As I set May up beautifully, and May was amazing, I just didn't have the capacity for it this month. So that's annual, monthly, and then health logs. And then here we're getting into my daily logs. So I did archive all my other dailies, but I switched actually into this book back like middle of the week. It was actually Monday or Tuesday of last week. So these are my day on 2 page from Roro Designs that I've been using. I still love this style. I love this paper. I love this layout. I think it's great. And then I'm using this freebie from Aloe's Creative Corner as like my daily page marker. And today is actually Sunday. And then here's today's task list. And again, nothing crazy here. I need to do a little planning for this week, but these are inserts that I already had printed for June. I just, again, back in May, there was a big shift in my core planning system and it kind of broke my brain a little bit, so I left this system, but I still had these dailies, and so when I came back into Rings, I knew that if I come back into Rings in June, I'll just use the ones I already printed. They're already dated, they're ready to go, because sometimes I need to put stuff in here prior to the day arriving, and so I usually keep a full month of dailies in. And that's my daily section. And then my weekly section here this is where the new is. So here's a custom vertical weekly that I made inspired by the layout of the daily timeline in my Roro Designs dailies. This style works for my brain. I've noticed that any ones that I tried to buy online, the times were too small, the grid was too little, I didn't like how it looked too messy, too busy, so I printed this very light gray color as the lines in the text, and this has actually worked. I loved this. And again, you see, it's not like a complete, quote unquote, complete weekly, it's just there for me to put in what I know is on my calendar, and then if I need to come in and think through, okay, what does Thursday look like? What does Friday look like? I can go in and I can time block accordingly. I don't have the time blocks necessarily for Saturday and Sunday, because if I do anything Saturday or Sunday for work, it's usually just like a little ad hoc or catch up. But during the week, Monday through Friday is when I would really need to plan for my capacity, things like that. And then on the back of it, I actually just glued these together because I don't know how to print it to where it will cut and print on this and this together. But also, I don't know if I'll always need both weeklies for the week. So I think I might just continue printing them separately, and then I might just stick them together with just a little tape runner when I do both. This is the week on 2 pages freebie from Peanuts Planner Co. that I love. So I can kind of put the overview of the week's events, my main tasks I need to focus on this week, and I need to update some of this, and then my workouts here, and then I whited this out and then put my cleaning task here, and then this is my tracker for my vitamins, which we don't need to talk about how bad my vitamins have gone the last couple weeks. And then my spending tracker, and then more blank weekly. So here's this next week already. So like I already kind of started mapping out like what Monday looks like a little bit, because I needed to think, what does Monday morning look like when I have meetings? And so I'm gonna just map it out. And then this dashboard will be for June 10th. And again, this is a different weekly, but again, I had everything printed and ready to go already for June. And so I'm just gonna use the ones I have that are already dated and ready to go for June. I couldn't find the one for this week, so that's why I used a different insert for this week, but this is still a week on 2 pages. I'll put like my vitamins probably up here, my cleaning tracker up here, my inbox is here, and then again, my weekly overview. That's really all I need for the week. And then I have a bunch of my spending logs. These are from Peanuts Planner Co. I just love how simple and basic they are. Date, details, amount, very easy peasy. And so the reason why this was different and why this was the part that messed everything up, and I explained this in a previous video, is there were some changes to the events that were showing up on my Google Calendar, aka my master calendar, and it made it so it's very, very difficult for me to visually look at it and like sort of time block, because I have other people's events also on my calendar, but I can't take them out. So I no longer have always just my stuff on my calendar. I have other people's, and so I need to see what just my time looks like in order for me to plan, and that's the purpose of this vertical weekly. This next section is gonna be for music practice. So I have a notebook that I use for music practice and music logs, but I have some things coming up and I want to get into some more consistent practice a few days a week, and I don't want a dated planner because some weeks I don't get as much done as I want to, but I really just wanted a place to map out what I did work on and then set some goals. Like, I want to do this 3 days this week. I want to make sure I work on this piece of this music this week, kind of off to the side. And so these are just a week on 1 page from Peanuts Planner Co. So for example, I'll set it up for this coming week. I know this week I have a lot of calls, so I likely won't have a ton that will end up on here, but I just needed everything in one book. I need to not have a bajillion books to look at. Trust me, there's a reason why my Hobonichi cousin hasn't been touched since the middle of May. I'm even behind on my little A6. That's one thing I'm gonna do today. I'm behind on my A6. I think the last time I journaled it was very beginning of June, so end of May, beginning of June. So yeah, so I last journaled in this May 29th. And so today I'm gonna go through my phone and my planner and just fill in like, hey, this is what happened on these days, catch up and write my memories for the day. And so this will be my music practice log. Then this is gonna be my gratitude log, which I need to fill in, but this is just a vertical weekly from Infinite Lotus. It doesn't have like the little sidebar because I don't need a sidebar. I just need a place to put a little bit of gratitude. I don't have the capacity for bigger journaling right now, but I know that it's helpful for me. I don't want my A6 to be a gratitude log. This is really for like main memories and events of the day, or like what was the main vibe of the day. This is memories. And this is gratitude, and I guess I could fit them both in here, but here's the problem is if I start doing it in here, I'm going to want to keep it in here, and I don't know if I want to keep it in here for the next 5 years. So we're keeping gratitude out and separate. This is my spending section where I have, this is going to be my annual overview. I'm updating this from this guy right here because this was the personal wide size and it just doesn't fit well. So I repurchased this from Perfective Paper in the regular size and I'll transfer it. And then I've got my breakdown for my spending logs where I break down sort of the week and the categories. And then that's when I plug in there. And again, it's just mainly to watch trends. I don't even know what I'm going to do with the information, but I enjoy it. And I like being in touch with where my money is going. It just makes, I feel like that's just a responsible thing to do. Anyway, and then here is project notes. So work projects. So for example, in April, I wrote out what I needed for my Instagram assets, right? And what I needed for my podcast, what email sequences I wrote, things like that, where I just need to take notes on work tasks. So like this is a task, but it has several pieces involved in it. I can make those checklists here. This is logs. So online orders, doctor's appointments, and if I submitted a claim, so medical claims, a wish list, strength sessions, and then cosmetics purchases. And then back here is just notes, just general notes for things that it's just miscellaneous. And then in the back here, I have some blank paper, notes pages that I've printed either from me that I made or ones that I had blank. And then I've got just a little made paper code page lifter here in the back to help. So that is what the overview of this planner is. And again, the only other book that I'm trying to actively keep up with right now is my A6 Hobonichi, which this has been a lot harder than I thought it was going to be to keep up with, mainly because my capacity is not what I would like it to be for even hobbies, like if I'm being realistic. But I also know that this doesn't take me long to do. Like when I sit down to do this today to catch up, even if I get a week or two behind, it'll take me 10 to 15 minutes to catch up on it on a day like today. Today's one of those lovely days where we don't have any plans. So I'm just getting my laundry done. I'm doing my cleaning. We're vacuuming the floors. We're gonna go work out. Like it's gonna be very chill. So this is the rings. And again, this is in a personal wide cover. So Franklin Covey Compact in a personal wide. Although the footprint doesn't bother me because it's not as heavy anymore because of the insert sizes. The paper is smaller, so it's less chunky and bulky, even though there is quite a bit of fluff in here, which I love, but it doesn't feel overstuffed like the Moterm was feeling. Not that I won't ever go back into the Moterm, this just feels good right now. So this is what I'm doing. I know that I'm gonna be in and out of the various covers that I have, and we just roll with the punches. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.